So this was my very first EV conversion. I found a 1990s model Yamaha Blaster on Facebook Marketplace. It didn't have a motor in it, had no brakes, bearings were shot, bent, the handlebars were a little bent, it needed a lot of work. As you can tell here, it obviously sat outside for a while, it was rusting pretty bad. I think I got it for like $50. It was really nothing. So I figured it was a good canvas to kind of start my EV journey and see if it was something I'd be interested in. As you can tell here, plastics were bent. It was missing little pins to hold the plastics in place. No headlight. I'm not sure they came with headlights anyways. I never put one on here, but cleaned it up real well. It needed front tires. The guy who had it before me said he put, I don't know if it was a lawnmower engine or a pressure washer, some kind of just 5 horsepower motor in there. Him and his kids would just go around the yard. I told him go ahead and keep it. I don't need that. I have bigger plans for it. So the first thing I did was strip the frame down, sandblasted it, cleaned everything up, dipped it in black, kind of give it a little bit a newer look, refresh I guess you would say. Once I got everything off, I kind of figured what I was going to do. I kind of went into this project blind. I knew that I wanted to make it electric. So I used a QS138 motor. The controller was 72 volt. I think it was a 360 amp controller. I was giving it 300 amps in the end. Mounted up the motor, lined everything up true, made sure the chain was straight and all that stuff that you kind of have to do regardless of electric or not. I knew how the functionality was going to work, but when it came to the programming and tuning, that's where I was kind of lacking in knowledge. But I knew I could figure it out one way or another. So here's my mount. I welded everything in once I tacked it up, made sure everything was straight. I did change the chain. I want to say the chain was a 428, and I think I went to a 420, a little bit thicker. Or maybe it was a 5. Forgive me on the chain, I'm not sure, but I know it was bigger than what was originally on the ATV when I got it. Obviously, new sprocket, new chain. I tried to, like I said, tighten everything up that I could do to make it more true, more safe and sound, stuff like that. My daughter, she was very eager to ride it. She'd ask me every day for a month, when's it ready, when's it ready? I told her, honey, it's going to be a couple of months. Daddy has to make sure this thing's safe. I don't want anybody to get hurt. So I built my battery. It was the first battery I've ever built that was over 12 volts. I've built small cells in the past of 12 volt batteries, but 72 to 84 volt was a challenge, especially hooking up the BMS. That was a little challenging for me, tuning everything, setting the voltage. As you can see here, it was a wire nightmare, hooking the BMS up, making sure everything sat where it needed to, tabbing in where the battery was going to sit, mounting the controller. Here's the first test run I had. I was very eager to ride it. I had no brakes. Speedometer was off. I think I was giving it about 110 amps here. There's speed modes on it. I set it for 1, 2, and 3. I'm pretty sure I'm in 3 here, but like I said, I was only giving it about 110 amps at the time. This was just kind of a functionality test to make sure that it was going to move, everything was going to work. I was going to continue this project, keep pouring time into it. Once I got it all kind of tuned up and got my phase amps and everything, I think I set it to about 300. I took it into the neighborhood across the street in a cul-de-sac. Luckily it was the middle of the day, and I gave it some juice and it threw me straight on my back. And at that time, of course, there was no, I guess you'd call it that back handle that they have. It kind of acts as a mild wheelie bar. And it threw me on my back. I was down for a couple of days, just letting everybody know these things can be dangerous. You can tell here in this video there's no bar back there if you look close. This is once I kind of got it tuned up a little bit, getting the feel of it. I did have front brakes at this time. Like I said, more of a functionality thing still at this point. After this, I did strip it down, paint everything, did some more mild tuning. I installed back brakes, and then here it was finished. I had a friend who saw it and he wanted it more than I did. Unfortunately, I didn't keep this very long. Shortly after I built it, he purchased it off of me. The way I installed the key switch on it, you can tell here, towards the end there's maybe a little bit different video, but I put the key in the gas cap, turn it on, brother-in-law, we put one of those GPS phone apps, and it would go about 67 miles an hour, I think is where we clocked it. It's definitely a lot more than I expected, and with the motor I used, I really wasn't expecting that kind of performance. There's that wheelie bar I added. That was shortly after I got back on my feet after almost breaking my back. I don't think I have the battery hooked up here, but kind of shows you the functionality of how it went. This was a very fun project. I would definitely do it again. Like I said, it was my first. If you have any questions, let me know.